The Flash is the latest DC comic book movie to be gracing the big screen next week on June 16th and is directed by Andy Muschietti, who did both of the recent It movies as well as the incredibly underrated Mama, and it also features Ezra Miller, Michael Keeton, Ben Affleck, Sasha, Calle, and Michael Shannon. Worlds collide when the Flash uses his superpowers to travel back in time to change the events of the past. However, when his attempt to save his family inadvertently alters the future, he becomes trapped in a reality in which General Zod has returned, threatening annihilation. Now guys, before I get into my review for The Flash, I want to see what all of you have to say. Are you looking forward to this movie? Because I know not many people have been able to see it just yet, because I was very lucky enough to see it last week at a very special preview screening. I am so thankful to Warner Brothers for the very special invite. I also know that only a few other select critics and audience members have been able to see this movie as well, and this is one that I kind of went into with a lot of skepticism. This is a movie that has been in development hell for many years now, almost a fucking decade. This movie was literally announced at the beginning of the CW Flash TV show, but is only now coming out after that show ended after 9 seasons. This movie has been in development hell for so fucking long, and it went through director after director after director until it finally landed in the hands of Andy Muschietti, who I am so glad directed this movie, because one thing I want to say right off the bat is that the directing talent on screen right here from Andy is marvelous. With him and his choice, I was a little concerned admittedly, because he's only ever done a very low budget horror movie and then 2 big blockbuster horror movies as well that are very well known from a Stephen King property. He's never done anything of this caliber, of this nature, of this scale, and going into it, I didn't know how he would handle it. But Andy Muschietti is easily my choice for future DC projects, because the way he directs this movie, his very, very unique visual style in so many different aspects, whether it's the way he frames the camera and the way he decides to have it move. When it's just characters talking in very pivotal, emotional character beat moments, or during the very grand action sequences, which admittedly the final action set piece is a little bland from the location, but all of that is completely null and void considering the high octane pace of it, thanks to Andy Muschietti's direction and his vision. He seriously did a marvelous job with this movie, and I wish I could say more in regards to what I'm trying to say regarding the distinct visual style and also his vision for this movie and how certain things like the Speed Force work, but unfortunately, I'm not really allowed to say that. The movie doesn't come out for another week, and I don't want to spoil it for all of you either. Seeing Ben Affleck as Batman one more time very briefly was also very nice. I'm one of the people who actually really like his Batman. I am really happy to see Michael Keaton though returning as the Cape Crusader. Michael Keaton is my Batman and always will be my Batman. I may not have been around when those Batman movies were released. I wasn't. That was in the 80s. I was born in the 2000s. But at the same time, I remember Michael Keaton's Batman being the Batman that was in my household growing up, from what my mother showed me, from what my other family members showed me, and it was just the Batman I stuck to and the one that resonated with me the most, and seeing him don the cape one more time is just something simply marvelous, and he really went back into the role like that. It was not a problem whatsoever. He is so good as Bruce Wayne once again, and you can tell that a lot of time has passed since we last saw him. He is a very different type of Bruce Wayne, but a much better Batman now to what we saw as well. Like, that's saying something. He was a very good Batman back then, and the Batman we saw back in his early years was so good. But the Batman we see in this of Michael Keaton is something to truly admire, and truly, it's something I find wonderful. Sasha Calle, Supergirl, she is a scene stealer in this movie. Every scene that she was in, she stole the show. She's honestly probably my favorite part of this movie. She is so good as Supergirl. The different take, the certain things that Andy Muschietti decides to adapt from comic books that only comic book fans would really notice. It's little visual cues and little character moments, but unless you've read comic books, you wouldn't understand that. But you at least understand the general concept as well, even if you haven't read these comics, as to what he's trying to get across. But the fact that Andy Muschietti, for the character of Supergirl and Sasha Calle's portrayal of Supergirl and them working together, have made my favorite Supergirl in regards to the big screen. I haven't seen enough of Sasha yet to say she's my favorite Supergirl. That would be the CW Supergirl. But seriously, I want to see her in more as this character. I want to see her more in this role. She is so fucking good. I can't wait to see more of her, and I hope to God she gets to, wear the cape. I hope she gets to be the Kryptonian once again. Michael Shannon as Zod, He's just fucking badass. There's really not much to say about it. It's Michael fucking Shannon as Zod. He was amazing in Man of Steel. He's amazing here. Ezra Miller. There's a lot of things I could say about him, but I'm just going to talk about Barry Allen and their portrayal, because Barry Allen in this movie is fucking incredible. This is the Flash movie that we have been wanting. What I love most about the Flash is the fact that, yes, I can talk about a bit of shoddy VFX here and there, because there is a lot of VFX in this movie that doesn't look great, but the visual style of everything surrounding it, however, does make up for the very shoddy VFX, and sometimes a bit of the shoddy VFX does actually add to an overall charm to the movie as well, I'll admit. But Barry Allen in this movie, the story that they provide to us, and the idea that they give for Barry Allen to have an arc for is so good. This is less a comic book movie that is just big, grandeur action sequences all over the fucking place. This is a comic book movie that is about dealing with one's past and accepting trauma and acknowledging the fact that it is that trauma, those discrepancies, those bad moments in our past that make who we are today. Without them, we'd be unidentifiable to who we are as we are right now. They directly in the movie in one scene reference the butterfly effect. It's quite early on, but they do reference the butterfly effect, and I love that, because this is definitely like so many different alternate realities and alternate universe just by someone sneezing could change the course of time and reality itself. And I love that that's a concept they play with, but they use it in a way to elevate Barry's character as a character tenfold in regards to it being a deep dive story about him coming to terms with his past, no matter how good or how bad or how traumatic it may be, and all the shit that he has had to go through. It's a story and a road of acceptance, even though he is, yes, finding this version of Batman and this other version of, you know, the Kryptonian, this time being Supergirl. It's really fucking nice that this is the story they decided to tell, and I think it does the character of Barry Allen and the Flash a lot of justice. I will say that the action sequences with a lot of very iffy VFX, yes, they're a lot of fucking fun, but I was enjoying the movie most of all when it was a movie about Barry and dealing with these concepts and his past and acknowledging all these different things. That's when I love this movie the most. That's when it's at its core, its strongest in my opinion. Also, the camaraderie between the core group is amazing. I love the core group and their camaraderie in this. It is so good. Whether it's Barry Allen to Bruce Wayne, or Barry Allen to Supergirl, or Barry Allen to Barry Allen, it's all very good and it feels very authentic. The way they do the two Barry Allens integrated and interacting with each other is so good. It also makes for some really funny moments. I found a lot of the humor in this movie landed a lot. Like, it landed most of the time. Not all the time, it wasn't quite there, but 9 times out of 10, majority of the time the humor landed. If there's a few issues I will have to say about this movie, however, I will say, one, the VFX, even though it can add a certain charm, can be quite distracting at times. I will say that the big, yes, there are cameos because the multiverse and everything. We all knew that this was coming. I'm not going to say what cameos are in it, but I felt like they were a little out of place, but it also does make sense. But it just felt like a big applause moment for the audience, especially one. And I want to talk about this cameo. When I saw this cameo come on screen, fuck, I wish I could talk about it. But I laughed my ass off, but it was the biggest applause out of my audience throughout the entire special screening. Like, the fact that that actor played that character for that cameo is amazing. I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to say anything. I kind of knew about it before I saw the movie due to friends of mine and everything who saw it at CinemaCon. Well, not a friend of mine that saw it at CinemaCon. I have a friend. It's a friend of a friend that saw it at CinemaCon, and then my friend, who is his friend, told me, okay, I'm going on a fucking tangent. I just knew about it, and even then seeing it here just put a big fucking smile on my face. Yeah, it was cool. Like, it can take away the overall effect in the moments that these cameos do happen, but it's nice. It also, in a lot of ways, pays homage to the past. Not saying anything more. I'll also say that there's a bit of a section in the middle where it feels for about 10-15 minutes like it sort of dips off a little bit and becomes a little unfocused. It becomes a little bit wishy-washy and slows down exponentially and becomes a little bit of a bore. But the character moment's still within a grade. I'm trying to figure out really big complaints. I don't think it's the best comic book movie ever. I don't think it's one of the best. That's a stretch. But it is one of the best in recent memory, I will say. It's a very strong movie. I had a blast with The Flash. I wish I could say more, but unfortunately I can't. Yeah, I love this movie, from the characters to the story that they decide to tell. The action sequences, Sasha Calle as Supergirl, Michael Keaton as Batman. Seriously, from the opening scene to the end, I was 9 times out of 10 absolutely transfixed on the screen and loved every second of it. It's just a few moments here and there where it could have been altered a little bit. But yeah. But overall, I love The Flash. I can't wait to see it again next week, actually, at another screening. I can't wait. Yeah, I love this movie, and I'm gonna give The Flash a B+. Guys, what do you think of The Flash? Well, not what do you think of The Flash. Are you excited to see The Flash? I want to see what you guys have to say down in the comment section below. What is your favorite DC movie? And what is your favorite Michael Keaton Batman movie? I know there's only 2, but I want to know which one's your favorite. Thank you all so much for watching. Look out for more movie reactions and movie reviews coming very, very soon, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.